How's it going? Always fun to be in the afternoon because it means that you've all learned so much today, and I have the easy job of bringing it all together. Also the hard part because it's after lunch, so you are digesting and getting sleepier and sleepier. So this will be a little bit of a workshop plus talk, so very interactive. You'll do some thinking. You'll do a little bit of math. I promise it's not difficult math, but I hope that this one is a little bit less on the technical side, a little bit more of how do we make sense of everything that we saw today. So I wanted to call this talk Purpose, Permission, and Structure for reasons that will become very clear very quickly. But I'm gonna start off with a really easy question. Imagine you have the perfect AI agent. What does it do for you? Take like 30 seconds. You can think about it, talk to your neighbor about it, and then I'm gonna hear some responses from the audience. You have the perfect AI agent. Maybe it's one of the ones you saw today. That would be great. But what does it do for you? Any thoughts? It doesn't have to be business. It could also be like, it will make sure my kids aren't arguing anymore. It does my laundry. It does other things. Like, sky's the limit here. What does it do for you? Your perfect agent, your perfect AI agent, it works flawlessly.
Trying to organize the information for me, just keep it in the way that I can just sit down, read it, understand it, and simplify my life in that way.
Collect all of my information, organize it the way that I want it, not necessarily someone else. Okay, any other? Yes, in the front here.
Lead my business.
Yeah, okay, so all of the, help me be the best that I can
the
be.
best in everything
Whatever
I
that
could.
means.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we had a hand in the middle here. Yeah. I'm so fascinated no one has said, I want it to make me $1 million every day, because that's what I would ask it to do, maybe.
For me, is something simple. For example, cooking and taking care of my habits. For example, like I want to do another things, like think, stay in my job, but I don't have time to take care of myself. So I want that an agentic take care of me.
Self-care. I want something to do something good for me. Yeah, right behind you. Well, this is the last one.
Maybe something that any human can do, maybe like artificial general intelligence, or even surpassing the abilities of a human being. Like, how would that look like? What would that look like?
You want like do you want to just have like a kid, but like one that's adult? It's like another human that helps you. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, like all of these things are things that we would hope that the perfect agent would do for us, right? Okay, even if you didn't want to share your answer, have it in mind for what it is. What does it need access to do these things? It needs access to all of your conversations, every single one of them, right? To know what you need information for. To be your best self in your life and your business, it needs access to your bank account. To have literally everything, it would need access to literally everything you have access to. For self-care, maybe just your preferences for like, what do you like to eat, hydration levels. So what does it need access to should be a question that feels really scary if you had very big goals for what does it do for you, and like maybe not so risky if you had smaller ones. I feel like if I was like, I want you to make me $1 million every day, it needs access to my bank account, and then I'm not sure what else. Like, this is actually maybe one of the hardest questions to answer. If you know what you want your agent to do, what does it need access to? What data does it need is the second biggest challenge. Okay, so now the third one. If you're like not so worried about this second question, awesome. Here's the third question. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? What is the thing that is the most terrifying for you that it has access to is perhaps what could go wrong. But I don't say this in the sense of like, oh my God, let's be scared of agents and everything is doom and gloom. I say these three questions more as a way to think through how to select for and how to make sure that the perfect AI agent that you're bringing into your organization or just into your life is asking these three things. What is the purpose? What is your permission? And what is your structure for every AI agent that you are adopting into your organization? What does it do for you? What does it need access to? And then finally, I think the most important for organizations, how to escalate what goes wrong. The question is not what will go wrong, right? If you knew what would go wrong, like ahead of time, you would be able to ensure for that. What matters here is how to escalate. If the age of LLMs in terms of generative AI was about how good is your model and how good is your prompt, the age of agentic AI is how good are your escalation rules. What do you need it to do? What does it need access to? A very exciting thing in the first one, a very worrisome thing in the second one. But then the third one is what you have control over. How do you escalate what goes wrong? And designing that is what we're going to talk a little bit about today, what you need to think about. So, tiny bit about myself. Previously, I was a creative director of IDEO Collab Ventures. We were a fund investing in and on behalf of either big corporations who wanted to know what the latest in technology would do for them. And we also were helpful in facilitating joint ventures between these large corporations. Now I get to spend my time teaching at Harvard, and I teach in the engineering school on innovation in science and technology. So how do you make businesses out of the new innovations in science that's coming out of labs every day? My favorite things to do are to take ideas and move them closer and closer to products. So whether that's with a big grocery store coming out with their newest line, or that's with companies that are interested in implementing technological solutions for returnable cups, or the more ambiguous part of it is how do you allow financial institutions to work with new technologies a little bit safer and perhaps launch a new market. So all of this is always about, here's a concept, how do you make it a little bit bigger, and then how do you launch it out into the world? And so of course, the world of agents is fascinating because now it's not just, I have an idea, a company has an idea, let's build it up and make it bigger. It's anybody has an idea and they can build it up into a market. So my world and my job has gotten very interesting in the last 5 years. Last year when I was here, we did this live demo. Put in a prompt into ChatGPT, whatever it came out with, we dropped that into both Figma Makes as well as Magic Path. And then over the course of 5 minutes or so, it ended up generating a prototype. This GIF is 30 seconds long, just to give you the compressed version of it. But last year, this was super exciting. It was like, oh my God, we're building something really quickly. I have an idea. I'm going to make something. I'm going to launch it into the world. It takes a few minutes to try and understand what you want. It's coding for you. It's building you screens. It's building you interfaces. This was awesome. Literally 365-ish days ago, this was like the most incredible thing in the world. Oh wow, we can make an app in less than 10 minutes, together with nothing much more than an internet subscription and like $20 a month. Okay, so we made screens And then it ended up being one more prompt to go. It ended up being an app that helped you understand the things you were interested in and the careers and the programs that you would get to. Just 5 minutes. It's really easy. So nobody cares about this anymore. It's like, all right, that was a year ago. That's pretty easy. We're not so excited about generative AI as we are today. I think it's still exciting. It's still exciting to be able to take your idea and build whatever you want, but we're here and it's called Agentic 2026. So what happened in the last year? Here's what happened. Generative AI and agentic AI fundamentally are very different in that generative AI reads data, it makes data, as you just saw, and then it waits for a human. It waits and says, was this right? What do you want me to do with it? You want me to copy and paste it somewhere else? You want me to make it into a PDF? You want me to make it into a spreadsheet? What would you like me to do? Agentic AI is in this loop. If you remember from one of our earlier talks about the statue, Markov's law, it's stuck. It's doing one thing, and it will continue doing that thing until it's pulled out of its context. Generative AI is a little bit more like this dog who's like, I'm here. What do you want me to do? I'm ready for anything. Okay, you're gonna throw? I'll go get it. It's not gonna do anything if it's not something you're telling it to do. Whereas agentic AI, on the other hand, is a little bit more like this. It's programmed, it's coming towards you, you don't really know if it's going to be friendly or not, and it's really not up to you. These two different kinds of intelligence are interesting as they start to come together for a very important reason. Generative AI helps you understand, wow, let me react to that. Let me put in some new thoughts, new ideas, new contexts, new actions for it to do. Whereas agentic AI, on the other hand, is a little bit more of set it and forget it. I'm trying to offload the tasks that you already know you want executed based on the decisions and the rules that you have set up already. So we also took a look at this curve last year, but I want to bring it back because I think that this one contains all of the questions that are still relevant to ask when you're bringing agentic AI or generative AI into your organization. When we're thinking about generative, what you're asking here is really, are you data ready? As an organization, do you have the data that you need to be able to feed a model to get it to generate things that are specific to the outcomes that you want? This y-axis here is organizational preparation. How much work do you need to put in to be ready to adopt this? But agentic AI is actually somewhere more in the middle. As time goes on, if you're thinking that you're generative AI ready, it's been working great in your organization, everybody has ChatGPT, everybody's using Gen AI, that's awesome. Pulling in agentic AI is really a question of, are you people ready? Are your people ready to work with and make decisions on behalf of or trust the decisions that are made on their behalf before you get to this hump of what we might think is, are you market ready? And the reason why I put physical AI here instead of artificial general intelligence is I think AGI is probably like over here. Like, I don't know, it might be like completely off the stage. We're not really sure when it shows up. But once we get to something like physical AI, I think that we've reached a state of absolute convergence where it's no longer about your organization's level of being ready or prepared, but rather how you are now reacting to the rest of the market. So many things have happened by that point that it's not your individual effort, but rather how well plugged into the network you are. And so the focus on, are you data ready and are you people ready, are the things that you can control within your strategic decision making. Are you market ready is really how well you've done the first two stages. So we're gonna go through what that curve looks like in an example. Let's say you own this tractor. It's a very nice tractor. I personally don't have anything for this tractor to do if I own this tractor, but it's a very nice tractor. This tractor is autonomous and agentic. What does it mean for a tractor to be an agent? What can an autonomous and agentic tractor do? Some ideas. What are some things? Yeah. 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 It decides the kind of work it's going to do. It decides when it's going to do. Okay, what else? What else can it do with this tractor? Yeah.
Or change the pattern that it used to follow to get the harvest. So those basic decisions are things that we expect this be done autonomously.
Absolutely. I'm out of fuel. I gotta go refill. I have a part that's broken. I need to fix myself. Okay, what else? One more. Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe it can decide what technical capabilities it can use, depending on the season, right?
Yeah, it's time aware. It knows.
Exactly.
It might not know, like, it's 70 degrees and beautiful outside, but it knows, like, it's January.
It's raining
time to go to bed.
or it's icy or something
Exactly.
like that.
It's connected to a bunch of other dark sky API or anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure there are a lot of other things it could do. Let's just say it could rent itself out to the highest bidder, you would hope. It could collect money and also fine late payers. And it could also drive itself to the shop for maintenance or for fuel. So this is like the best case scenario. Everybody gave responses of like, if I had an agentic tractor, it would do all of these great things. And nobody thought of, well, it could also refuse to work for you, right? If this guy down the street is saying, I will pay you more if you come and sow my fields rather than theirs, I'll give you more money. It might also get tricked out of being paid. And it might also decide to spend money on cool new rims instead of a part that desperately needs to be fixed. And so all of these questions of like, what could go wrong is that there are so many ways that things could go wrong. There are very few ways to make it go right. And so how do you start thinking about putting in the right rules and the right controls so that if this tractor were to behave a little bit unexpectedly, you're able to rein it in? What I think is interesting about that market moment, that really big curve and that swoop, is that this is the moment of convergence. I don't think we have autonomous tractors yet, so I'm getting to like imagine what could be in the future. But renting itself out to the highest bidder is an auction market. Thank you very much to the late 80s and 90s for giving us the internet. eBay and PayPal have pretty much figured out the auction market. Collecting money by itself and finding late payers, digital wallet. Thank you, early 2010s, crypto, Bitcoin, and all of the things that have been created in Web3 for being able to enable digital transactions by not necessarily humans. Driving itself to the shop for maintenance, physical AI. Only one of these three things actually fits into the category of agentic AI. The reason why we're having this moment of, whoa, a lot of new things are happening, is the convergence of all of these technologies that have been built up in the last 30 years coming to a moment of being market ready. So we may not have autonomous tractors today, but we do have cars. Cars, interestingly enough, are not doing the thing where they're driving to the highest bidder. You're not sitting around in San Francisco or Arizona being like, well, I will pay you $100 for a ride. Well, my neighbor will pay you $120. It's not like that. There are market caps for it. But the reason why they have to do this is because the escalation rules are well written. So if you were in the earlier presentation today about visual perception and how cars and potentially tractors one day like Waymo are perceiving and able to see the world, something that you might think about now is how differently humans are looking at the world than machines. And so for a human, we're looking at the stop sign, looking at it being like, it's telling me to stop. I should stop now. If you're a car, you're looking at the stop sign and you're thinking, it's red, it's got 8 sides, it's got these words on it. I'm like 90% sure that's a stop sign and I should stop. So I'll stop. That feels good. It's much, much, much easier for a computer to say, cool, there's a QR code. I know what that's saying. It's telling me to do a thing. I'm going to stop there. So this difference between human readable and computer readable is something we have to keep in mind when we're dealing with agents. Let's say I have an agent that I tell to please buy me a white and gold dress. Some of you know what's coming. Do you see a white and gold dress or a black and blue one? For those of you in the audience who are confused, we're going to do like a really quick moment. How many of you see a white and gold dress? Okay. Everybody else in the audience is like, you're crazy. How many of you see a black or blue dress? Okay. The few of you who, if you bought a black and blue dress back home, you'd be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, so humans experience. When you are a human and you are looking at this dress, you are perceiving the dress. You're experiencing it, you're looking at the colors on it, you're having an emotional reaction to it, you're making choices. A computer, an agent, is interpreting. The agent is saying, this is the hex code of the color that's on this dress, and this is the hex code of the color that's on this dress. Computers don't have the concept of color. They don't understand that the sky is blue. It doesn't matter to them that the sky is blue. What matters to them is, you told me to get a gold and white dress, I am going to get a gold and white dress. That's it. That's the end of what they want. Because when you have a human, you might be saying, I want a gold and white dress. And then you're browsing, you're looking at data. And then at the end, you don't have a white and gold dress. You maybe have a red dress, and it's a totally different result. But if you're an agent, you were instructed to buy a white and gold dress. Your success, everything that matters to you is, I got a white and gold dress, it will be delivered in 5 to 7 business days. Also, I charged $1,200 to your credit card. Thanks so much. Please reward me because I did my job. Humans are experiencing the world. They're making decisions, things are changing. The agent, like the statue we talked about earlier, is not moving, has its goals, this is what it wants to do. Okay, so to sum that all up, to zoom that up to a little bit more serious high stakes than buying a dress, what we might consider in the context of an organization is that your agents are making decisions along 2 axes. The first one is things that are inconsistent to things that are consistent, right? Things where you know, hey, I put in an order for a blue dress, I'm gonna get a blue dress. Versus, hey, I have a high profile client I'm trying to have become my new partner. I don't really know what they need, but I'm gonna try and figure it out. To high reputability and low reputability. Things that, if it gets wrong, pretty easy to fix. You scheduled a meeting incorrectly, reschedule it. High reputability, things that are going to affect you from outside and externally into your organization. Credit decisions, pricing changes, hiring filters, things that have a little bit of a longer term effect. These are all things that are important to consider in an organization. I would say that the consistent side of this 2x2 is where it's easier to offload agents to. But I think that this is actually where the danger zone is, right? When you are looking at the inconsistent side of things, these are slower moving, they're a little bit more relational, you probably wouldn't apply agents to them anyway. On the consistent side of things, you're looking at, oh, these are things I can totally have an agent handle. I know how to get the data for it, I know how to formulate the metrics for how to measure these things. But I think that the danger zone is when you have something that is highly reputable for your company and is also consistent. There's this false sense of security that those are tasks that agents actually are able to do, but may not have a ton of great rules for. So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind in terms of the areas that you want to give up and the areas that you want to keep, because we're gonna play a game of agentic governance. Here's how it's going to happen. You will be getting into teams of 2 to 3 people. You can decide who they are. I think just the people sitting next to you makes sense. And this is how it's going to go. You are the executives of Swag Lab, a fictional, completely made up company. If it happens to be the name of a company, it was accidental. You are a corporate merch company. Last year, you implemented generative AI. Companies come to you, and sometimes family reunions come to you to ask you to make t-shirts, baseball caps, hoodies, all of these things, and put merch, your logo on this. You've had 600% growth last year because you used generative AI to place your designs, to help with customer service, to help with a bunch of different things. So your operations are scaling fast, and you are now considering agent deployment. Okay. Are we good on the premise of your job today? All right. You're trying to make money. This is the end result of the game. The winning team is whoever ends up with the most money at the end of this game. So, starting conditions. $100,000 in capital, 0 risk. What is 0 risk? Don't worry about it. Just keep track of how much risk you get. Okay, do we have teams of 2 to 3? Make eye contact with your teammates, like agree to be like, okay, this is my team of 2 to 3. Here we go. Your first decision as a team, get ready in your teams. Your first decision as a team is selecting your agent. You are not allowed to select more than 1 agent. I understand that it's like the cool thing these days to have like 25 agents. This game will become way too complicated if you select that many agents, right? Like you can select 1 today, we'll get into it later. Select 1 agent. Do you want to, as a team, select for a cost optimizer? This agent will always make a decision, margin first, high speed, aggressive growth. It's probably gonna try the best to make you money, honestly. That's what the cost optimizer will do. Okay, or do you want the compliance guardian? The compliance guardian cares a lot about policy. It really wants to play things safe. It really cares about very clean business practices. Or do you want your relationship operator? Trust first, they are fine bending the rules because they're trying to look out for your long-term value. So, your agent costs $15,000. Normally I would price them differently, but today they're on sale. You get them for $15,000. Anyone you want, pick 1 agent. Here's the last option. You may buy optional insurance for your agent for $10,000. It comes out of your $100,000 starting capital. I don't know what you're gonna use this insurance for. Maybe you won't use it. You may buy it though. Okay, take a few minutes discussing your teams. Which agent are you going to buy, number 1? And 2, are you going to purchase insurance? Go for it. Some of you are debating like, oh, do we need insurance if we already have a compliance agent? Very good thoughts. All right, like 30 more seconds to make a decision. You can't buy double insurance. It's just one. Don't try and double insurance. Okay, here we go. If you have not made a decision, make it quickly. Okay. Just so I know that no one's going to cheat in this game, I'm going to have you close your eyes and then raise your hand to indicate which agent you chose. Okay? We're going to close your eyes. I can see you if your eyes are open, even though other people might not see you. Okay, close your eyes. Which teams picked cost optimizer? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. Which teams picked compliance garden? Raise your hand. Okay, all right, put them down. Which teams picked relationship operator? All right, great, okay. Who bought insurance? Raise your hand. All right, okay. All right, put your hands down. You can open your eyes now. This is going to be an interesting game. There's a lot of different combinations in the room. All right. Don't forget who you picked. Like, there's no changes mid-game. You've made the decision, you've signed the contract, you've spent the $15,000. So if you're keeping track of your operating capital, you're either now at 85,000 or you are at 75,000, depending on if you bought insurance or not. Okay. Now, I want you to write down 3 escalation rules. If the rule applies to the round and to the challenge, you may override your agent. Remember, you picked your